Hi friends, I'm Andrea Lake and I'm working on a Christmas mini album collaboration with the one and only Amber Mitchell. I came up with the idea months ago to select one Christmas collection from this year. We are going to work with the Simple Stories Mix and A-Mingle collection designed by Kelly Banks. And the challenge was, first of all, we did try to set up a few guidelines. Let's say work with at least one product from the line or add acetate. But again, that was months and months ago, so we forgot some of those. So I'm just gonna share what we're doing. The one disclaimer or the one thing here, at least for me, is my mini album is in storage right now, and the paper where I wrote all the measurements got lost. So I'm gonna walk you through, the good thing is I'm gonna walk you through exactly my thought process or how I design my albums, which 99% of the time measurements are not involved until after the fact. So the main idea for my project, or what I did have clear in my mind, was I do want one of the chipboard frames from the collection to be on the cover, and I want to add lights. Fairy lights and mini albums with lights are something that I love creating. So that's what I knew, and that's where I started. There is nothing said, nothing else is ready, and I'm working on this, making sure my lights work, making sure my frame is gonna look good. So I used my crop-a-dial to punch holes on each one of those tiny white circles that you see around that Christmas wreath. Have issues with that word. So many others. And I knew that I wanted my lights to be seen through that. In order for me to hide the battery, I need to add the double-sided tape, at least 2 or 3 layers, so I don't have any issues hiding the batteries, and the wreath will stay perfectly, and will also, come up from the base. Now, the size of the album, it's bigger than I would normally make my mini albums, but again, the size of the wreath, the size of that chipboard frame was what determined the size of the album. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that it's about 7 by 7, and then my spine must be 1 3/4 of an inch wide, or 2 inches wide. But again, I will update those, or even a little bit more. No, I believe it's 2. So again, I'll have all those measurements in the box below, and probably I'll come up with some kind of diagram or something just explaining that, as well as the measurements for the hinges for the spine. But right now I'm covering those pieces of chipboard with double-sided tape. As you may know by now, I am not cheap when it comes to double-sided tape. I actually right now, after using those rolls, I was done with my Amazon double-sided tape, and I restocked. I've been taking advantage of every single scrapbook.com sale. So I'm coming up with those. Now I'm using my bookbinding tools to make sure that my chipboard is straight. I'm going to put together my 2 pieces of cardstock. I want some of that green pattern paper to be seen from my cover. So that's gonna be the pattern paper for my spine, but that spine is going to wrap around both of my covers, my front and my back cover. And again, if I was really measuring absolutely everything, you will have the pieces of pattern paper all, cut perfectly before I start adding the chipboard. But 99% of the time, as I was mentioning in the beginning, that's not how I work. I normally create as I go, and I know that new ideas normally come up as I go. So that's exactly what was happening here, and I would love to tell you if I'm going to teach this class, if I'm going to put all of the if I'm going to have all of the pieces together and all of the products and put together a kit and then instructions and teach you the class, I will for sure tell you and have the measurements and tell you, hey, in advance we're going to cut each piece of pattern paper, following this measurements. But that's not how I did work for this. I just wanted to sit down and create what I wanted, and let's see what happens. Let's see how this ends up looking. I'm just adding some craft tape to reinforce the spine. I know that being so thick, I might end up adding a lot of dimension, a lot of details. So I just want to make sure that my mini album is going to be safe. Doesn't matter how many times I open and close it, it's going to be reinforced. And I added machine stitching details only on the spine. I didn't do it all around because it doesn't look like, but it's again a 7x7 mini album. So it ended up being, as I said, a little bit bigger, and it was gonna be a little bit complicated to run through the machine. Now I'm just making sure that all my creases are crisp and good and everything is looking fine. And this is where things started getting exciting for me. Once I think I will test. So I have that and off camera, but I kept on bringing my frame, my chipboard frame, and just saying, yes, this is exactly what I want. I found the perfect ribbon for this, the perfect color with a beautiful pattern. And I just kept on getting more and more excited as I was testing and as I was getting this together. Now for the inside, I'm using the Simple Stories Color by cardstock. This is the Robin's Egg color, and then this is the same paper that I'm gonna use for the spine, and we're gonna put together the pieces for the spine after I'm done covering this entire piece, which I loved. I didn't want to go with the, okay, let's fold this as an accordion and let's put this spine piece together and then the sides. I wanted to make things easy for myself. Again, I was working on a bigger album. It's been a long time since I've worked on an album this big, so I decided to keep things as easy as possible. So this is I would say the trickiest piece to put together, just because how long it is. See, kept on bringing that piece back, and oh my gosh, so excited as I was working with it. I'm gonna use that piece of pattern paper just to go in the middle of the wreath, just to get some contrast and not have that much red. Because I'm planning still on top of that wreath there will be the actual title, so I just wanted that to pop and to be seen easier. So you see the measurements here. So if you have time to do to take a screenshot of that, please do, because those were exactly the measurements. But as you could see, I had the template, the white pieces, and I did not measure them before doing it. I tested them with the actual mini album, but I did not write down the measurements until this point. And as I said, that piece of paper, then I remember writing everything down on a separate piece of paper that got lost. So what I'm doing here is I'm folding all of the pieces. I'm getting rid of the corners. Those are gonna be my hinges, and I'm gonna sandwich pieces of pattern paper back and from the front and the back of those small hinges. And then for these actual pieces, I'm gonna add them one by one. I'm gonna start from, I guess I started from the smaller piece, and I went and I added that inside the next biggest big piece, and until I was done. And now I'm going to attach, and I use the same color vibe cardstock as I use for the inside of my album to keep everything consistent. So when you flip the pages and you see that gap in between one page and the other from the spine, you will see the exact same paper. And this is, since the album is 7 by 7, so it's 7 inches tall, I made the spine pieces 6.5 inches tall. And then I'm cutting so all of the pages are 6.5 inches tall, but some of them are also 6.5 wide, and some of them are only 5, I believe. So I played a little bit with that, and you'll see it mainly on the flip through. And I did add machine stitching details around the edges of those pages. Some of the pages will have pockets, some of them are not. So I'm just, again, sandwiching that hinge in between my two pieces of pattern paper. Love, one thing with this collection, loved working with the collection. You'll see that some of the pages have some trim on the edges. This was just to add some dimension, texture. So the album ended up having, I believe, 8 pages, but because so the space in between one page and the other, the gap is, I believe, 1/4 of an inch, maybe, if that makes sense. And so it's a lot. There is a lot of space, and that was intentional because I loved the chipboard and the foam stickers on this collection, and I wanted to include as many of them as possible. So I wanted to make sure that there was enough space in between, there was enough of a gap in between those pages to allow me to play and embellish the pages as I wanted. And the embellishing, I will consider it still a little bit simplistic, at least for me. I did not play that much with the clusters and all of that, but I'm so happy with the results. this is the very last page. I'm not gonna walk you through how I embellished each one of the pages, but you will see we'll do the flip through together. So finishing touches, just checking that everything, it flips through perfectly. It looks great, it looks exactly how I want it. You can see the cover has those foam stickers, and I added a brad. There's some die cuts and stickers on the left side. And then here we go. I included one more chipboard frame. I created a pocket on the left side of this page, added machine stitching to all of the journaling cards. You can add photos on the back of the 6x4 pieces. Again, the foam stickers are just beautiful. More details, as I said, I kept it very simple, but I am so in love with how it turned out. So as I said, all the measurements and everything will be updated as soon as I move, as soon as I have my album back with me. It most probably you'll be seeing the video and having to wait a few more days until I have all of the details, but again, I'll take care of that. As I said, you can also find Amber's video link below. That will be the very first link that you see. All of the links to the products that I used to make this mini album will be on the description box below as well. Make sure to watch Amber's video. Let's sure to let us know if you've used this collection, what you think of the collection. If you want to try one of the albums or both of the albums that we're making today, let us know. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was a little bit of a long video, but I wanted to show you as much of the process as possible and walk you through that. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.